It is exactly 12:14 a.m. The house is silent, the lights are off, but your face is illuminated by a small blue light rectangle. You've been scrolling for 45 minutes. You told yourself one more video back at 11:30, but here you are. Your thumb is moving on autopilot, a flick, a pause, a flick. Your eyes are dry, your neck is stiff, but the urge to see the next thing is physically stronger than your urge to sleep. You think you're failing at self-control. You think you're just weak-willed, or that you've developed a bad habit. You're wrong. You aren't failing. You are being harvested. You are currently trapped inside a psychological machine worth $4 trillion. You are being processed by a system designed by teams of PhDs in behavioral addiction, and its only job, its literal fiduciary duty to shareholders, is to make sure you do not close that app. They call the service free. I call it the most expensive tax ever invented. Because you aren't paying with dollars. You're paying with the only resource you can never earn back: your autonomy, your focus, your very sense of self. In this economy, if the service is free, you aren't the customer, you are the inventory. And today, we're going to look at the receipt. Because when you see the true cost of free, you'll realize it's the most expensive thing you've ever owned. Every massive system has a patient zero and origin story that explains how we got here. And the origin story of free doesn't start in a Silicon Valley garage. It starts in the mahogany-paneled living rooms of the 1920s. Back then, the radio was a miracle. It was a box that brought music, news, and drama out of thin air and into your home for seemingly nothing. There was no monthly bill, no subscription fee. It felt like a gift from the heavens. But beneath that miracle, a new and dangerous economic engine was being assembled. The early radio pioneers, the heads of RCA and NBC, realized something profound. They weren't in the business of selling programs to listeners. They were in the business of selling listeners to soap companies. This is where the term soap opera comes from. The drama wasn't the product. The story was just the bait. This was the birth of the attention for access trade. It was a philosophy of extraction that viewed the human mind as a crop to be harvested. But there was a limit back then. The radio only knew you were listening. It didn't know who you were, what you were thinking, or if you actually bought the soap. When the internet arrived, it didn't just adopt this model, it weaponized it. In the early 2000s, Google and Facebook faced a crisis. How do you make money from a search bar or a profile page? The answer they landed on changed the course of civilization. They decided that free would be the default state of the internet, but the price would be your digital shadow. Every click, every search, every pause on a photograph would be recorded, stored, and analyzed. We traded our privacy for convenience, believing we were getting a good deal. But privacy isn't just about hiding secrets. It's the foundation of free will. If a system knows everything you have ever done, it begins to know exactly what you will do next. Ask yourself, if a company can predict your behavior with 98% accuracy, do you still have a choice? Or are you just following a script written by a server farm in Oregon? We didn't just sign up for a service, we signed up for a psychological enclosure. And the bars of that enclosure are built out of the data we gave away for free. Think about the last time you bought something you didn't really need. Or the last time you stayed on an app until your eyes burned, long after the fun had stopped. In the moment, you probably thought it was your idea. A sudden whim, a moment of boredom. It wasn't. You were walking through a digital environment where every aisle was designed to make you trip. In the world of behavioral economics, we call this choice architecture. In a physical grocery store, the milk is always at the back. Why? Because the store wants to force you to walk past the cereal, the chips, and the candy. They want to maximize the chance of an impulse buy. In the digital world, the milk is the information you actually need, your friend's message, your work email. But to get to it, the choice architect forces you to walk through a feed designed to trigger your deepest emotional insecurities. They know the exact shade of red for a notification that triggers a micro spike of cortisol in your brain. They know that infinite scroll works because the human mind has a stopping rule that looks for a natural endpoint, like the end of a page or a chapter. By removing the bottom of the page, they remove your ability to stop. They've essentially built a digital Pringles can for your brain. Once you pop, the architecture makes it physically difficult to stop, but it goes deeper than scrolling. They know which emotional frequency keeps you engaged the longest. And through millions of A/B tests, they found the answer: outrage. An angry person stays on a platform 11 minutes longer than a happy person. So the choice architect doesn't show you what's true. They show you what's engaging. They curate a world of high-tension conflict. Because peace is bad for the bottom line. Every time you choose to click that inflammatory headline, you aren't expressing your opinion. You are reacting to a trap set by a PhD in behavioral science. We have to ask, if our environment is designed to manipulate our emotions, can any choice we make inside that environment truly be considered free? Or have we simply become the most predictable components in a machine we didn't build? In a healthy economy, the relationship is simple. You give money, and in return, you get a product or a service. You are the customer. You have the power of the exit. If the bread is stale, you go to a different bakery. But in the free model, that relationship is completely inverted. In this system, you are the raw material. The tech company is the refinery. The advertiser is the customer. And the actual product, the product is certain about your future behavior. This is the core of what scholars call surveillance capitalism. It's not just about selling your email address to a telemarketer. That's 1990s thinking. Today, they are selling access to your future self. Imagine a marketplace where companies don't bid on ads. They bid on behavioral modifications. They're buying the probability that you will click a specific link, buy a specific brand, or vote for a specific candidate at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday when you're feeling slightly vulnerable. They have mapped the topography of your desires so they can sell a guaranteed intervention. If they know you're likely to buy a pair of shoes when you're feeling lonely, the system will wait until your loneliness data peaks, perhaps after you've spent 20 minutes looking at old photos, and then it will drop the shoe ad. Is that a free service, or is it a sophisticated form of remote control? We like to think our data is just bits and bytes, but your data is actually your digital shadow. It's a record of who you were. When companies use that shadow to dictate who you will become, they are stealing your future autonomy. They aren't just predicting your choices. They are creating them. When we call this free, we are participating in a massive linguistic fraud. We aren't paying with dollars. We are paying with the interest on our own lives. We are giving away the raw material of our existence so that a third party can refine it and sell it back to us as a suggestion. Have you ever noticed how the recommended for you section starts to feel like a destiny you can't escape? That's not a helpful feature. That's the inventory reversal in action. Why are you so tired? It's the question that haunts the modern world. We have more labor-saving devices than any generation in history, yet we feel more depleted than ever. Most people blame work-life balance or hustle culture, but the real culprit is something much more systemic. I call it the decompression tax. Think about that moment when you finally get home from work or finish your chores. Your cognitive reserves are at zero. Your willpower battery is blinking red. You've spent 8 hours making decisions, solving problems, and navigating social hierarchies. You are exhausted. In that state of exhaustion, you need to decompress. You need a moment where you don't have to be on. And the free apps know this is their most profitable window. They know that an exhausted mind doesn't have a firewall. When you're tired, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic and long-term planning, goes offline. You become a creature of pure impulse. You reach for the phone, not because you want to, but because it's the path of least resistance. This is the exhaustion economy. Your fatigue is a deliverable for big tech. They don't just want your money, they want your depletion. Because a well-rested, focused person might decide to read a book, go for a walk, or talk to their spouse. A well-rested person is unharvestable, but an exhausted person will scroll for 3 hours. They will watch 14 videos they don't care about. They will click on ads for things they don't need. The decompression tax is the price you pay for the free internet, and you pay it in the currency of your own recovery. Every minute you spend decompressing on a platform is a minute you aren't actually resting. You're just being farmed while your guard is down. Have you ever noticed how you can spend 2 hours on social media and feel more tired than when you started? That's because the system isn't designed to help you relax. It's designed to keep you in a state of high arousal lethargy. You're awake enough to click, but too tired to leave. This is the mirror moment we have to face. When you're on that couch at 12:14 a.m., you aren't relaxing. You are paying a tax that you never voted for, to a company that views your exhaustion as its greatest asset. We often frame the big tech problem as a few billionaire nerds who got lucky. We treat it like a cultural phenomenon. But if we want to see the truth, we have to look at the R&D budgets. Last year, Alphabet and Meta spent a combined total of over $50 billion on research and development. To put that in perspective, that is more than the GDP of many small nations. What are they researching? It's not just faster search or better VR headsets. They are building a digital twin of the human psyche. They are running the largest psychological experiment in human history, and you are the involuntary subject. Every time you scroll past a post without stopping, you are giving the machine a data point on what didn't work. Every time you pause for an extra 2 seconds on a photo of an ex or a headline about a tragedy, you are teaching the machine how to hurt you, how to excite you, and how to keep you. They're looking for the minimum viable attention. What is the smallest amount of dopamine they can give you to keep you from closing the app? What is the exact level of outrage that will keep you typing a comment? This is the villain of the story. It's not a person. It's an incentive structure. These companies have a fiduciary duty to maximize user engagement. If they made the apps less addictive, their stock price would crater. They are legally obligated to steal as much of your life as possible. We are being outgunned. You are one human brain evolved over millions of years to survive in the wilderness, going up against a supercomputer that has analyzed the behavior of 3 billion people to find your specific weaknesses. It's not a fair fight. When we say, I should just use my phone less, it's like saying, I should just be better at resisting a casino that follows me into my bedroom. The house always wins because the house has $50 billion worth of insights into your lizard brain. This is the systemic reality. The free model has created a world where the most profitable thing a company can do is to make you less human, to turn you into a predictable, reactive bundle of impulses. If we don't recognize the scale of the R&D of the mind, we will continue to blame ourselves for a trap we never had a chance of avoiding. So where does this end? Most advice on this topic is insulting. People tell you to buy an alarm clock or turn your screen to grayscale. But you can't solve a structural, civilizational extraction with a lifestyle hack. It's like telling a factory worker in the 1890s to just sleep more while they're working 14-hour shifts. What we need is not a digital detox. We need digital decolonization. For the last 2 years, big tech has colonized the most private territory on Earth, the human mind. They have mapped our desires, strip-mined our attention, and built settlements of habit in our daily lives. To decolonize is to reclaim your inner sovereignty. This starts with a radical shift in perspective. You have to stop viewing your attention as a byproduct of your day. Your attention is your primary sovereign resource. It is the literal matter out of which your life is built. When you give it away for free, you are devaluing the very substance of your existence. Digital decolonization means building a cognitive infrastructure that the apps can't touch. It means choosing tools that respect your exit. It means favoring deep work over wide scrolling. But more importantly, it means refusing the identity of the inventory. It means realizing that you are not a user, you are a creator of meaning. The system wants you to be a passive consumer of its architecture. To resist is to become an architect of your own time. This isn't about being anti-tech. Technology is a tool. But a tool that you cannot put down is not a tool, it's a shackle. Reclaiming your mind is the most rebellious act you can perform in the 21st century. It is a fight for the future of what it means to be human. Because if we lose the ability to think independently, to focus deeply, and to choose our own paths, then what exactly is left of us? At the end of the day, there is no such thing as a free lunch, and there is certainly no such thing as a free internet. We have been handed a bill, and it is denominated in the most precious currency in the universe, human autonomy. We have traded our focus for convenience, we have traded our privacy for connection, and we have traded our free will for a free feed. The receipt is in. We've paid with the 12:14 a.m.s we'll never get back. We've paid with the decompression tax that left us too tired to pursue our actual dreams. We've paid with the $50 billion in R&D used to turn our own psychology against us. The question isn't whether the technology is good or bad. A hammer is a tool, but if you're using it to hit yourself in the thumb every day, the problem isn't the hammer. The problem is the choice architecture that convinced you the thumb hitting was free. As you put your phone down today, and I hope you do, ask yourself one question. Who is holding the handle? Are you the architect of your life, or are you just a guest in someone else's maze? The cost of free is everything you are, and it's time we stopped paying it. I'm Clara. Thanks for watching.